Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to the Truth Talk podcast. I'm back here with MI.
What's up, guys?
In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Fouseytube situation. Let's get right into it. For those who don't know, Fouseytube is considered as one of the OG YouTubers, being on the platform since at least 2011. He became popular early on for his prank videos that would garner millions of views on YouTube. Even though Fouseytube was known as an online prankster and prank content was starting to die out, Fousey kept on growing. By 2017, Fousey had managed to achieve a task that most YouTubers can only dream of, gaining 10 million subscribers. For the most part, everything was going right for Fousey at this point, and it wasn't until 2018, when he hosted his event called Hate Dies and Love Arrives, that things started to take a sharp turn. This event was supposed to be Fousey's game changer, as he had made some massive promises to his attending fans. Fousey promised his fans that he would deliver Drake, Snoop Dogg, alongside other big-name artists in a free event hosted for his fans. Not only did Fousey not meet these demands, but he never even knew Drake in the first place. To make this even worse, Fousey's event was then shut down after a hoax threat was called in. This hurt Fousey's reputation tremendously, as the event was dubbed FouseyCon after TanaCon, another YouTube influencer who had hosted an event that failed in similar fashion. This is when things changed for Fousey, who started to see the ugly side of fame. Fousey was then seen having a very public manic episode which landed him in the hospital. People who are eager for fame will do anything to make it, but they forget that just like they go up, they eventually must come down. This very thing is what Fousey wasn't ready for and tried his best to prevent. During the FouseyCon event, people started noticing that something might have not been all the way there with Fousey, and he might have had some type of mental disorder. This led to Fousey's fall from stardom, as he blew through all of his money, started falling off in popularity, and eventually stopped posting altogether on YouTube. A man who had surpassed 10 million subscribers and had over 2 billion views on YouTube had given up and was falling apart. This wasn't going to be it for Fousey, as he would attempt his comeback, and this is exactly what he's doing nowadays. Recently, Fousey has been in the headlines for his controversial live streams he has been hosting. About a little over a month ago, Fousey announced his subathon, where he would be live streaming all day every day to boost his growth on Twitch. Clips from the 24/7 stream had been going viral on TikTok and YouTube, bringing massive attention to his streams. It was even reported that Fousey had upwards of 70,000 people watching him live. During these streams, Fousey announced to the world that he was doing all of this because of Adin Ross and the streaming site Kick, who had promised him a $15 million streaming deal. This is when Fousey started appearing on stream with Adin Ross and Sneeko and many others in the streaming world. Just a few days back, he would go viral for his interaction with the Island Boys, a pair of cloud chasers we have spoke about recently. The more Fousey would stream, the more extreme he would get, until it all came crashing down during one of his recent live streams. About a week ago, Fousey was hosting a live stream for his thousands of viewers when the unexpected happened. While on stream, a troll calls Fousey's hotel room after doxing him and begins to threaten him on live and tells him that he has been threatening his mom as well. The troll then tells Fousey that he knows where he's currently located. This is when Fousey loses it and begins to threaten the caller. He then hangs up and begins to call the police live on stream. This is when Fousey takes it to the next level and begins to disrespect the security guard and the 911 operator. He yells at the 911 operator and his security guard multiple times as they both try to help him. When he does not get what he wants, he begins to flat out lie while on the phone, telling the 911 operator that the person was in his room and was threatening him with a weapon before hanging up on the 911 operator. Even though on his live stream, you can clearly see that he is safely sitting on a bed with his security guard in front of him. While all of this is happening, Fousey's viewers just continue to rise, feeding his deranged behavior. Shortly after the call, the police arrive, only to find an unhinged Fousey with no threat in sight. Immediately, Fousey starts to disrespect the police officers, yelling at them and provoking them. He explained to the police officers what was going on by yelling at them and telling them how famous he was. This led to the police arresting Fousey, deciding to escort him to a hospital for a mental evaluation. According to recent reports and a post from Fousey himself, Fousey is still in the hospital, being held under a psychiatric hold until he gets cleared by the police. In this video update from Fousey, he appears to be in the hospital. He tells his fans that he's being medicated every time he says the wrong thing. He also tells his fans that he will be back.
Just want to say hi. I miss y'all. I'm currently under, what's it called? The thing the cops put me under.
I have no idea.
I forgot the name of the act. When you can't leave a mental hospital until you get clearance. It's not a nice act. Can't leave the hospital until I get clearance from the police. So I've been 4 days now. They drug me up every day. Anytime I say something wrong, wallahi, they put a needle this big into my arm. But I love y'all. I made the 0.4-second shot. I got fouled out. That's all it is. Back. Y'all know that. Season 2 on the way. We champions now. Get it. G7, baby.
For the last few days, people have been watching and cheering Fousey on his path of self-destruction. They all watched and laughed and used him as entertainment. Fousey was willing to crash out just to get the attention back on him. And this is exactly why Adin Ross and Kick are interested in signing him. This is the very reason I wanted to talk about this situation. You think it's a coincidence Adin Ross and Kick want to give Fousey a deal while he's literally losing his mind for the world to see? This is the very reason they want to sign Fousey. It's most likely the reason Fousey is doing all of this to begin with. People like Adin Ross and Speed are perfect examples of what agendas being pushed through these streaming sites. These big sites that are worth billions are looking for people like Fousey to sign them and give them millions. They know Fousey is a train wreck. They know he is a reckless individual willing to do it all for attention. They also know that their primary audience is teenagers and kids. These are the people these streaming companies want to influence the youth. They only came after Fousey the moment he started to crash out. The moment he started to go off the deep end, that's when they started to offer him millions. This is why they sign people like Speed and Adin Ross. These are the influencers talking directly to the kids. I believe Fousey knows all of this, and this is the reason he is so eager to crash out for the cameras to see. He is willing to do anything to make it back to the top, even if it costs his soul. Fouseytube is a desperate YouTuber who has been trying to get back to his glory days for a very long time. He has tried everything and anything, and he has no problem embarrassing himself for clout.
I think that this is either an act or he's off for something, because his behavior as of lately is ridiculous. You know, I used to see Fouseytube pranking people. Then he went into trying to put together events like boxing, which I think he got knocked out in. Now he's doing Twitch and Kick, and he's a menace. I don't even know what's wrong with the dude. I think he's tripping, man. I think he's taking something, or he took something and it messed him up. You know, we've seen this happen to people personally that we know, you know?
That's what everybody thinks. I don't know. I feel that he has a full team, you know? He has to have a manager. He has to have people behind him, puppets, you know, that are pulling the strings and telling him don't do this or don't do that. And maybe he doesn't, and that could be the reason why he's acting out. But I highly doubt that. Just look at other streamers and other people that are popular right now. Look at what we saw with Ishowspeed. Ishowspeed literally went and flashed his audience live on a YouTube stream, and he wasn't canceled or anything. And in my opinion, I felt that it was planned. It was all a part of the show. So these streamers are taking things to a new extent, pushing this agenda in a different way. It's not as controlled as conventional media, as TV or anything that we've seen before. These streamers have a direct source to the kids. So they're influencing these kids to do exactly what they do. So that's why when we see someone like Fouseytube, who's acting all crazy and doing all of this chaotic stuff, I believe he is only doing this because he knows it's what's drawing attention to him. He knows this was giving him clout.
So much clout right now that it's not even a joke. But I just feel like, look, he gave an update from the hospital telling people how, I guess it's to his fans, that he's disappointed with how they treated him. You know what I mean? That he believes that everyone isn't talking to him enough and they're being weird. The dude can't be all that in the head. Maybe like, I don't know, like this could be all an act. I'm not saying it isn't. I believe it is an act. But then I believe also that something happened to him, man. You know, these people, they get into that money, they get crazy, they get flabbergasted, they start doing things that they shouldn't be messing with. And all it takes is one time to mess you up forever. And to me, that's what I think is happening with him.
I agree that happens a lot in the industry. When they start getting money, they start enjoying some of the fame, start going to some of the parties, they start being introduced to certain people, certain activities, and they end up, you know, berserk. But also, we have to remember the fact that controversy sells, and also the fact that, like I said, we got people like Ishowspeed, who his entire career is about being reckless and being controversial. Same thing with Adin Ross. His entire career is the same exact thing.
So let me ask you something. You think that this is like a thing with the Twitchers, with the streamers? Even Kai Cenat, he acts a fool sometimes too, but in a good, like in a funny way, you know?
I agree that Kai Cenat is a bit more lighthearted, but even then, we saw what happened with his New York City giveaway event where the whole city got shut down and he started a whole riot and things went left, you know? And this is because this is the energy that Kai Cenat gives out to his audience. This is what he influences them to be like. This is the way he makes them want to act. This is the energy he gives off. That goes in directly to my point. The fact that these streamers, these influencers, all are doing this crazy over the top, rebellious image, you know, this whole entire style, it's going to influence the children to do the same. And we know who owns these kids. We know it's the rich executives, the Masonic puppets at the top. We know they own these kids. They're the ones that are giving them 30, 40 million. Why do you think they're giving them 30, 40 million dollars? Why would you give a Fouseytube, a 12-year-old YouTuber whose time has fallen off multiple times, $15 million? Because Fouseytube is willing to crash out for his audience. Fouseytube is willing to do all these crazy things that all these children are watching live. And believe it or not, they're going to be influenced to be just like him. Now, you could be right. He could just be a maniac. The reason he's being signed is because he's a maniac.
Oh, of course. Come on, we know that this is what they want to show the kids. You know, when I think about it, how if you look back at Fouseytube when he first started, he was a prankster who eventually got called out for paying people to play along with his pranks, and he got called out for that a long time ago. Now we're fast forwarding 10 years later, look at where he's at now.
Yeah, it's becoming obvious that he's willing to sell off since the very beginning because he got called out for his false pranks. It proved that he didn't care as long as he made money because he was willing to fake his pranks. He was willing to, you know, lie to people. And if I'm not mistaken, he had a whole disagreement with another YouTuber who called them out for faking pranks, and he denied that he said his pranks were real. He's been showing since the very beginning that he has no problem selling out.
So you can see how crazy, you can see how this man is willing to lie to people, rob people out their money. He's willing to do anything for that money.
Fouseytube might really not be right in the head, but I still stick with the fact that this is because he's been chasing the fame. Like you said, when you're trying to get in the industry and you start participating in all these activities and you start going to these parties and stuff and you start realizing what the industry is.
Yeah, exactly. But it could be anything. It could have been that let's say he went to one of those parties and he seen something at a party that drove him to be the way he is. You know what I mean? Like, it could be anything.
But I also feel that when it comes to Fouseytube, it's just clout chasing gone wrong, you know?
Yeah, I believe that too. But look, like Post Malone a long time ago, he said how he took something and he's never been the same ever since. He said every day he feels like his life is a dream or a movie. He's like, every day this is what I feel like now. It never went away. It messed me up. So you know in the industry, these people, they introduce each other to all these different type of things, and besides demonic stuff, because you already know that alone will make somebody probably lose their mind. If I go to a party in Hollywood and I see something going down that I would never want to do or I would never thought could happen, I feel like once you sell your soul, like Doja Cat, for instance, you're lost. Like, there's no coming back. Your mind is, people go crazy after doing this. And it's very noticeable. You go from being perfectly fine to being somebody who's, since when you ever seen Fouseytube with a missing tooth, walking around acting crazy, being disrespectful to all the people that he disrespects, and you never seen this behavior from him.
No, and it's been a gradual decline over time, you know? The longer he's been famous, the more it's been affecting him and the more his mental health is declining, his actual health. Like, he's gotten healthier by going to the gym, but even if you look at him now, like in that video, he looks fit, but he looks unhealthy, in my eyes at least. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think that in a way this is orchestrated. I feel like this whole recent getting arrested and all, because he was just going too hard and too far. Maybe he was a little bit too happy, you know, doing a little bit too much. But at the end of the day, the way I see it, it appears like to me that Fouseytube is just trying to cash out on his current situation by overacting and keeping the attention on him, you know?
Oh, of course. But you know what's sad? That this is what's pushing the YouTube. Like, you gotta be some type of crazy person in order to really make it to that level. You gotta be willing to disrespect yourself, your family, your religion, everything. You're going against everything for some money.
Sacrifice, you know? That's literally all it is. But that's it for this video, guys. I really appreciate you guys for showing up. Just want to remind you guys that me and Emma are going to be trying to drop at least 2 to 3 videos, maybe even 4 a week on the second channel. So make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and leave a comment and a like. Let us know what you want us to talk about next, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.